Thank you for choosing iPaint Parties for your digital in-home iPaint party. Today you'll be painting Winter Cardinal. The supplies you'll need are a 16 by 20 canvas, a large brush, a medium brush, and a small brush. You'll need a paint palette or a plate, and the paint you'll need today will be dark gray, black, red, orange, and white. And you're going to need some paper towels and a cup of water. As always, thank you for choosing iPaint Parties for your in-home digital party, and have fun.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is basically we're going to paint from the top down to about 3/4 all white, okay? It doesn't matter which way you paint this, but the thing that does matter is we need to do it quickly because we want this paint to be wet. So when you go on, you're going to get some paint, go about like that much, then go ahead and get more paint. If you keep trying to spread that paint out, it's going to thin it out and dry, and eventually it'll start pulling it back off the canvas. So just get some paint on there and just start throwing it on. It doesn't have to look pretty. This is just to cover it up. That's not stressful. There's stuff we can do if it dries, so don't stress out too much. Remember, you're down about 3/4 is all you need to go. Well, anybody can do a paint and sip. We just don't tell ourselves that because other people do. But at your party, at your house, you can have your own. Yeah. About 3/4 of the way. Ooh, a little bit of blue paint there. Like I said, don't worry about how pretty it looks because, I mean, if it looks pretty now, you might want to quit because I'm not sure how you're doing it. Once you do get 3/4 down, you don't have to clean your brush out. Okay. So everybody look up here real quick because I'm going to show you what to do next just while my paint's still wet. You're going to get some gray, dark gray, which should be right beside your white. With the same brush, you're just going to put some gray lines in it, like so, just randomly. The trick to this is random. Make sure some of them go off your board. Now, after you do that, everybody look up real quick. After you get your lines in, then you're just going to go up and down like this, all the way, top to bottom. Go all the way across like that. See how it'll start blending in? So just do that all the way across, and this part can be done. If you think it's not dark enough, you can always add some more in, which I'm going to do. The trick is when you do these lines is to go all the way from the top all the way down to where you don't have any paint. You don't want them floating. Then you can clean your brush out. We're going to use the medium brush now. And what you're going to do is you're going to dip in a little bit in the gray. Now, on your palette here, if you kind of go paint it once, paint it twice, it'll give you a nice thin line or a thin brush, then you can dip it. Because what we're going to do is you're going to hold the brush vertical so the thin part is up, like the fat part's that way, and the thin part will be this way. Makes sense, I don't know. And you're going to start down here. What we're doing is, you can't see up there, is just barely putting in just some lighter trees that are kind of the background. So to do that, you're just going to start down here so you can kind of get a feel, because down here it won't matter. You get a kind of feel of it. And you're just going to go up, and you're going to let it blend in with the color below. You don't want it, as you go up, trees aren't real smooth curves, so you want to kind of make it jaggedy a little bit. And then just when you get to the end of the tree or the branch, you just want to lift off, because if you just stop, it'll be a blob. So like when you get to the end, you're just going to do a few of these. You don't have to do a lot. So when you get to the end, you're going to lift off. So basically it's going to be some that are in the background further away that the everybody get it? Anybody have any questions on that? What would that be? No, that looks good. You can put as many or as few of these in as you'd like. Remember, these are going to be in the background, so the main focus isn't going to be on them. Maybe I'll have one go a little higher in the middle here, just for fun. Put a happy little dead tree here. Hope that's not copyrighted. Once you are done with your trees, you can clean your brush out. Now, if you find you're having trouble with the points at the end, you can grab your little brush to do the end of it. But when you do that, you want to start back in the tree a little bit. Don't just start right at the edge. And always finish at the end. Don't start at the end and come back in, because it's too hard to make a point that way. Okay. What are we doing? We are going to do the fence, just the main part of the fence. So what you're going to do is you're going to find about, it could be a little below the halfway point of your canvas, which mine's about right here. You're just going to go across. You don't want it to be perfectly straight. I'm having a little bit of lines there, because my fence isn't going to be a perfectly straight fence once I do it. So you're going to paint that line, and all you're going to do after that is paint everything down below it. Now, if you want, you can set your canvas up. You'll have a little lip on your easel. You can set your canvas up on that. The little wood frame will catch it. That way you can paint the bottom easier, but that's up to you. So all you're going to do is just fill that in. The black paint you can thin out a little more. It is a little more forgiving as far as stretching it out a little bit. Don't worry about the top line, because we're going to use the medium brush to do the top part to get the fence look. Don't forget to do your sides and the bottom black. To do the bottom, you can flip your canvas over if you want, which is what I'm going to do. Remember, you can thin that black out pretty good. Once you get a gob on there, you can stretch that out pretty good ways. We're going to use the medium brush again with black paint. Okay. So now we're going to do the fence. And how we're going to do that is, you know, the top of like a dog-eared fence. It just kind of has a little angle up like that. Then it goes over, and it angles back down, right? See that? Everybody see it? So you're just going to do one and then kind of go off of that, how big you made it, and then you're just going to go off of that and add some more all the way across. Doesn't matter. You just go off of that first one you make. Depends on how thin your board is. I ended up with 4.2. It's probably not as many as I'd like, but that's all right. Then after you do that, you can just fill in that part that you just did. Yep, it's still part of the fence. We're going to use the medium brush and black paint again. Okay, we're going to work on that top tree limb. It goes across. So first thing we're going to do is you're going to probably about halfway between where your fence and the top of the canvas is. I'm just going to put a little dot right there because that's going to be my starting point. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, this is just the first line, so this is just to kind of get my main branch going to where I want it to go. So the main part I'm going to do is, I'm going to come out, I'm going to go up, do a little curve back down, then I'm just going to go up off the paper. It doesn't have to be done. This is just kind of the first guideline. So if you guys want to do that, wherever your first one you want to do. These don't have to look exactly like the one I'm doing either. So when you're doing a tree, a branch, normally where you see a bend in the tree, there's a good chance there's going to be another branch shooting off of that, because that's just kind of how they work most of the time. Shouldn't have anything to fill in. It's just a line. That's good. You don't have to, no, just leave, just that quick sketch is all we're doing for this second. That's good. Okay, everybody should be done because that shouldn't take too long, so I'm going to move on. So now when you're coming down, now on that one over there I have one curving off here, so I'm going to do that as well. So just coming off here, I'm going to have one curve up here to the top. I am trying to make these fairly thin, just so I don't have to make the branch super thick later. Do not put water in your paint. It'll run down your canvas and ruin the whole thing. I never said anything about putting water in paint. Sorry, yeah. If not, I'm kind of just wasting my time. All right. It's all right. You don't have to be sorry. Okay. Next part is up where I have on mine, where I have this top bend, I'm going to add a little branch going off that up through here too. It doesn't have to go off the page. It can stop there. This is really, yeah, it needs to go off. At least one of them does. Yeah, one of those have to. Probably the first one at least. Yeah. Well, have one curve up off the page there. There you go. See? You just can't be afraid of it. Okay. So now this one, I have this one coming down, so I'm going to make one. I'm going to make one that branches off of it. Kind of comes down here, and I'm going to have it kind of loop up a little bit there. And then I have one more. Remember, try not to press too hard, because the harder you press, the fatter your line's going to be, because the brush fans out. So on this one, this is my last one that I'm going to just going to do one off like that on that one. So that kind of gets the basis. It kind of gets the basis for the whole thing. Well, you want it. Branches are always fatter where they start, so you want it. The fattest part should be on the right. On the right side should be the fattest part, and as it comes across, it'll get thinner. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through. I'm going to start on this curve part just because it's an easy spot, and I am going to just go back over that. I'm going to start to push down a little bit just so that that gets fatter. So as I'm going along it, I start pushing harder, and that's how you can see the line gets fatter. Start off light. And the same thing when I go the other way, I'm going to start off wind and siding, I'm guessing, since that's all I hear at my house. That's what I got to do when I go home is go looking for siding. Yeah, it's not me or my neighbor's yard, so I have no idea where it went.
My house almost burnt down the other night. The next door had a storm. Electric went nuts on the pole, and it put all the power on one side of my house. And my night lights were like 200 watts blinding. I couldn't look at them. It all started to blow and burn.
That ain't good.
Smoke coming out of my house, all firemen coming out and everything. It blew up my refrigerator and my microwave. Yeah. So it's the little box of 11 meters, you know, on the pole.
Now I'm just going to start, once I thicken that first one out through there, I'm just going to go back through. I'm going to add a little thickness to the base of the extra branches. I'm going to add a couple little extra branches on that. Once you get the main branches on, you can switch to that littler brush if you'd like. Just remember, when you're getting to the end of your branches, when you're doing your branches, always go from the branch out. Never start back at the end of your branch and come back, or else you won't have a point. Yes. Just fighting over brushes again. if you rest you want to hold the brush as close to the brass part as you can, because you'll have more. Yeah, you'll have more control. If you want even more control, you can lay your pinky on your canvas to kind of guide. That'll help you guide how much pressure you put down. Yeah, that's fine. All right, to do the cardinal, you're just going to pick where you want the bird to sit on the fence. So I'm going to pick right about here. I'm just going to put a dot. Doesn't really matter because it's going to be covered in anyway. But all we're going to do is you're going to do just like an oval. Just do an oval like that. Yeah, or an egg shape, yeah. But you want it to touch the fence a little bit so he's sitting on the fence. And that's all we're doing first. So we're going to do some more stuff now. I'm trying to. So all you're going to do now, you're just going to do another circle on top of it. Not quite at the edge. Not quite out at the edge. So just in a little bit. Yeah, deformed little snowman, yeah. Next, no, I didn't say to fill it in. You can, it doesn't matter. But now you're going to follow this top part of the head. This is a circle. You're going to kind of go around it, and as you get it to the top, you're just going to flick it off like that. And it's going to be the top of the crest. Remember, it's easier if you can lay your hand on your canvas because it's pretty much all dry down here. And that'll give you a lot more. All right, so here's what you're going to do next. On the back of the circle, you're just going to do a little curve down to this one. So you're just making the curve of the back down. So back, it's all right. On the back here, where the circle comes down, you're going to come straight out like that. And you're just going to curve back into the body like that. So next we're just doing the tail feathers coming down. So they're just going to, don't start out where your wing is right there, where I just put another dot. Don't start there. Come down here and start. Just come down. It depends on just depends on how big your robin is. I don't know. So you're going to do that line, and you're going to do another one, and they kind of fan out just a little bit away from each other to make it a little wider at the end. Okay, so what I'm going to do before I fill it in is up here where we did the crest. You know how we just did that line and went like that? You're going to do the same thing just right underneath of it, just to build it down. So you're going to build that down all the way until you get to that neckline that you were at. Yes. You have that line. You're going to do a line right underneath of it. The next one's right underneath of it until you get down to the neck. As much as you can. And then you can fill the whole bird in. When you fill the bird in, though, use the medium brush. That little brush will take forever, and it leaves little lines all over the place. And it bugs the crap out of me, as I've said before. Yeah. So we're going to use medium brush and white paint. White. I said, yep, white. So how you're going to do is I'm going to do one fence post. I'll show you guys how we're going to do it. And then we can just all kind of move on. So you're just going to kind of put a white line around the top. It doesn't have to be right on it or anything. Down that little side on the left. Then you're just going to go straight down and lift off. After you do that, and you don't have to clean your brush, but on your palette, just kind of go like that. That'll get the extra white off. You're going to dip in a little bit of gray. And you're going to come back in right where they meet and just kind of swirl your brush around. And it's going to pick it up. And you're just going to work down on that corner. What's that? No, because it'll dry. So just do it like that. And then once you get one, you can move on to the other one. You just want to do that part of it there. We're going to add some other stuff here in a minute, but that's just the first thing. So you can clean your brush again, but you really don't have to if you've got a lot of the gray off. So I'm not going to because we're going to be mixing it anyway. So then I'll just move to the next one, put some white on. You can go different lengths. Maybe this one I'll take down a little further. Then I'll get some gray. Not all the way.
The white one you put down with?
Yeah, because that's the first one you do, and then you come back in and just kind of swirl it with the white. Basically, it's going to make a lighter gray, but it'll have a little bit of different variations in it. It doesn't have to be. We're going to come back in and add some snow on the top, regular white snow on top of the fence. Okay. Yeah. I'm using the middle. The small one would just take all night. And I hate those small brushes. So unless I'm doing really, really fine details. Who needed white? Just hear me peel out there.
Is my tail long enough?
Yeah.
Kind of a personal question.
Well, I'll answer them. Oh, there you go. Is that enough?
I think that was fine.
At least you're not wearing it.
Should that white just be across the fence, not like on it? Across the top?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to because you're just going to use it. So we're going to paint the fence a little bit more now. I like your blue jay. That's looking awesome. I like your blue jay. It's looking great. Okay. So now we're going to use the little brush. I think it's probably the best way to go here. We're going to get a little bit of light gray on it. And all we're going to do is we're just going to do some vertical lines on the wood. It doesn't matter where. It's just some random. But on this one, you don't want to push down too hard. So again, if you use your pinky, if you put your pinky on there and touch the canvas lightly, and then just slide your hand and lift off, you'll get some lighter. The small brush. They don't have to be good lines. They can kind of fade in and out. It's just to give some. Because we're going to have a bunch of snowflakes over top of this too, so these aren't going to show up superly or majorly, whichever you prefer. So now on the fence where we were just at, this was kind of like the weathered snow that's been there a while. It looks kind of bad, but we're going to put like a fresh coat on top. So you're just going to kind of do a line over. Just on the top there. Bless you. Well, then that's good. You don't need to add any more then. Yeah. This is just kind of the fresh snow because it doesn't have any of the gray in it. What's that? Oh. In red. Cardinals bleeding all over the place. Yeah. So next we're going to add some new fallen snow on the tree, limb thing at the top. You can use a little one if you'd like. I use the medium because I like it the best, but you can use the small one. Now, we're going to add some snow on the branches. Snow falls down, right? Everybody understand? So it's not going to be underneath. It's just going to be on top. And a place where you have a curve, like this right here, a little more snow would be there. So So I have a little bit of snow coming down, and then when I get in here, there's going to be a little bit more because it just sits in there a little heavier. No. Because it's always turning, so you don't want to, you just don't want the same thickness line. Wherever this limb goes up, there's going to be less snow. So like up here, I'm just barely touching it there, but as I go down into this cavern, then it's a little bit more. Oh. It can be both. You can kind of split it that way. The snow will have a little shadow underneath it with the black. This is another reason I told Brenda not to make the background so light. She had the background a little too light at first, so I told her to darken it up. Yeah. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the, thank you, sounds good enough. So you're going to come down around the top a little bit, almost as it starts down the head. You're just going to do a little V shape, like that. Just like that. Before you fill that in, you're going to do another V shape right inside of it, not quite as big, for his beak, and then you can fill it in. We're still using black, so you don't need to clean your brush. But if you did, it's okay. I won't penalize you. Yet. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, down here on the wing, you're going to follow this bottom curve. Just take it up like that. Yeah, over here where the wing ends, the point that you had, you're just going to follow that around. Yeah, start all the way up the point. Try to do it as thin as you can. That's good. You're done. Don't do more. So now what you're going to do after that is you're going to get just a little bit of black paint, put it on top of the palette, spread it all out. You don't want a lot because you want it just to dry. So after you do that, clean your brush out. Okay, mine's not dry yet, but I'm just going to dip so you're going to dip your brush in a little bit of water. You're going to get just a little bit of paint on, then you can kind of smear it around. You don't want a lot. So what I did was I dipped my brush in water, got a little bit of that paint since it's not dry yet, and I just, over on the side, swirled it around to get a little bit, the black. And I'm just going to use that to just do a little shadow here. Just around the bottom and a little bit down the tail underneath. Just so it darkens it up under there a little bit. I'm even going to go down in the snow there and add it, and that'll put a little shadow. Everybody ready? So we're going to use a small brush again. Dip it in the orange. and you're just going to do the beak. Now, do the beak. You're going to pick that middle part, or up where your black is. You're just going to make a long, not a real long, but a little triangle. Yeah, I was hoping that would work. Yeah, but don't put stuff in people's heads that don't need to be there. So once you're done with the beak, we're going to use small brush and white, and we're just going to do the snow. So like everything else, if you tap lightly, you get a small dot. Tap hard, you get a bigger dot. If you want a really big dot, you just tap it and swirl around. That'll give you some bigger ones, okay? So basically what you want to do is you want to do this all around. Now the problem, as some of you who've had my classes before, humans don't like chaos. They like your brain likes structure and pattern. So if you're not careful what you're doing, you will have a pattern. Now it's not necessarily bad, but the best way to do it, it is kind of bad, but I don't tell people that in case they do. The way to is just to, without thinking, just go do some. Scatter them out. Don't stay in one spot because that's how you get your patterns. Go up here, go up there, go back down. Just jump all around and do different sizes every time. So like when I have a big one like that, sometimes I'll just drop a couple right beside it. And basically I go fast. The faster you go, usually the easier. And don't be afraid to put some on top of the Cardinal because, you know, he's not anti-snow, so he doesn't get away without getting some snow on him. I do them all as I go. I don't come back and do different ones. It's easier for me to stay random when I don't worry about like what size I'm doing at the moment. Make sure you put some in front of on top of your branch up top. And you can do as much or as little of this as you'd like. That's great for stars, but for snow it's not quite as... I like to have a little more control. But that's just me. I'm like that, so... Once you're done, you can put a little dot right above the right side of the beak in the black for a little reflection in his eye. Mine went a little high there, but whatever. Yeah, just for the highlight. It's not really his eye. They don't have white eyes except for the demon ones. Once you're done, you can sign it. You can sign it in any color you want. I always sign mine in red just because I don't want that sticking out too much. I don't want it taking away too much from the rest of it. When I don't drop it, anyway.